This is Caravaggio and the calling of Saint Matthew. But first, let's get a little bit of background on Caravaggio. He was born September 29th, 1571, in Milan, Italy. Not quite this Milan, Italy. A little bit further back. Caravaggio was born into a middle-class family, but they were well enough known that they gained him an apprenticeship with one of Titian's pupils. Caravaggio worked his way up from painting still lifes, which he did wonderfully to note, to beginning to work with more and more powerful patrons, whom funded his great paintings. At one point, he gained the patronage of Cardinal Francesco Maria del Monte, who basically granted him a generous sum of money for his paintings. Here are some paintings. They're pretty, right? I know, they're great. But anyway, the money basically corrupted Caravaggio, leaving him with artichokes to beat waiters and castrate pimps and go to jail for, And there's an artichoke. Funny. One time I cooked artichokes. They're tasty. Don't know why you would beat someone to death with it. Well, he didn't beat him to death, but hurt him. Anyway, getting off. At one point of his life, he bribed someone to get out of jail. After going to jail several times, not getting out of jail, getting knighted, not getting knighted. Pope got mad at him, and he got pardoned somehow. I just don't know. It's just crazy. Anyway, he's going along, and he finds out this art was on a boat. And he chased after this boat until he eventually died of malaria. July 18th, 1610. There's a boat. Probably not the boat he was chasing after, but there's a boat. Now, I'll tell the real story. The one that I was supposed to do, but I've been kind of putting it off. Anyway, calling of St. Matthew. This is a story of St. Matthew, or from the Gospel of St. Matthew, except in Caravaggio's dark sense of interpretation. Caravaggio drew from Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel, where, God's hand pointing towards Adam, and Adam's like, oh, look at me. Anyway, that little finger thing? Caravaggio wanted to show heavenly calling through this gesture. Instead of the classical view, Caravaggio takes a scene from his everyday life, or what some say his life was like. And from the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus saw a man named Matthew at his seat in the custom house, and said to him, follow me. And Matthew rose and followed him. Well, that bearded guy, the weird one, sitting in the corner, with some dude hanging over his shoulder. That's Matthew. He's pointing to himself. Jesus is pointing to him. And St. Paul is standing next to Jesus, just lingering, just witnessing it, kind of like one of those weird patrons off the side, just saying, hey, look at me, look at me. Anyway, don't know why none of these guys are wearing pants. Well, they're probably wearing pants. It just doesn't look like they're wearing pants. It's just kind of terrible, to be honest. Love the painting, though. Another thing about this painting is that in the background, the light source coming in from the right is coming from Jesus' side. So basically, it's showing heavenly guidance and putting the subject in light, and it's drawing attention to the main person, who is the bearded man, who is Saint Matthew, he could also be pointing at the guy with his head down. It's open to interpretation, meaning that St. Matthew could either be the old guy or the young guy. Either way. What makes this painting a great painting is that it's unexpected in a way that Caravaggio somehow puts the plebeian life into it. Before, there was rarely anything to do with normal people. What you're seeing is a scene that's involving the normal person or average scene in life, other than Jesus pointing at St. Matthew or Caravaggio's interpretation of St. Matthew. It's just unheard of before this time. And also another thing that's kind of weird is that before, heavenly beings were portrayed in grandiose manners where they would be the main thing. Their heads would be huge, or their crown would be like golden, and everything would just be too much. In this, Caravaggio makes a little golden band right above Jesus's head, and that's the only thing that makes sure the viewer looks at him as a heavenly being. Otherwise, he's just a normal guy pointing at someone at a bar. But that's about it. There you have it. Calling of St. Matthew.